Hello, heroes. Joe Smith here. So, just want to get your hero's opinion on this matter. Got to go to court next week. Joe Smith here is suing a customer in small claims court for not coming back and paying for his mower repair after Joe Smith performed the repairs that he wanted. And here's the deal. This is how it all started. This guy who claimed when Joe Smith's guy doing a little small talk with him when he first dropped off, said he was like a computer tech making something like $100,000 a year. He got this riding mower, lawn tractor style, old-fashioned rider given to him, not zero turn, but like your old-fashioned lawn tractor rider mower given to him by don't know if it's a friend, someone he knew, or a relative, or he just seen some free mower come get it listing on Craigslist or Facebook or something. Not sure the exact details, but he did say that he got the mower for free, that the people were giving it away for free. So that should have been your first indication that this thing has some serious fucking problems. Otherwise, they would not be giving away for free. They go ahead and fix it and keep using it. He claimed, he brought here and claimed that the only thing that was wrong was the one belt kept falling off. And that they had got like a new belt and kept falling off or something. And then he's like, yeah, go ahead and sharpen blades, change the oil, pull the air, took the air filter out in front of him, and it was like dirty as fuck, like it ain't been changed since they bought it new. And pulled the dipstick out of the oil fill tube and showed him that, yeah, the oil's like all black and dirty and need change. And then when he was unloading it and dropping off here, Joe Smith kind of happened to notice that there was like a screw or nail or something in the back tire, and it was still holding air pressure, but once Joe Smith kind of pulled that out of the tire, and then it started leaking, or that, of course. But he said, yeah, go ahead, fix the leaky tire, sharpen blades, change the oil, change the fuel filter, change the air filter, and, well, actually, there was no fuel filter on it originally. It was missing half the fuel line and the fuel filter for some reason, which was kind of odd considering the only problem was this belt underneath kept falling off, so why is half the fuel line and the fuel filter missing from it? But fix the belt. There was a belt that was off. One belt underneath looked fairly new, but was actually off the one pulley. Put the belt back on. Didn't really see anything wrong underneath. Like no pulleys had worn or loose bearings. Didn't really see any reason why the belt would be falling off. And of course, it was missing the battery too when they brought it. So supposedly the belt just falls off. So they decide to get a new mower, according to the story. It's like, well, why is the battery missing, and why is half the fuel line and fuel filter missing? And then also the plastic engine fan shroud cover was unbolted and the bolts were missing. It was a Kohler engine, and Joe Smith here has like a assortment of Kohler bolts from being a Kohler dealer. So that wasn't a problem, but Joe Smith did all the work he wanted. Put put the belt back on, didn't see anything wrong. So I figured, well, put it back on, let's try it out, run it for a little bit, see if it falls back off. But then to do that, I had to buy a new battery to even try and start it up, plus replace the missing fuel line section, and put a new fuel filter. And then while waiting for parts to come in, went ahead and changed the oil and put a new air filter in it. Because I don't even know how it even started before with that air filter so freaking dirty. Like, damn, it was bad. And then went to sharpen the blades, but then they were pretty wore down, and one or two of them was even bent a little bit. So it's like, well, let's just put three new blades on here. So I ordered three new blades. And then after getting the battery and all the parts in and doing all this work, everything that he said needed done to it, and getting the tire fixed, went to start up for the first time, and it wouldn't start. So I started doing test procedures to diagnose that problem, and found out that the fuel pump wasn't pumping gas to the carburetor. So went ahead and put a new fuel pump on. I mean, they're like 10, 15 bucks or whatever. Not a huge deal. Couple bolts, easy swap. Did that, and still not working. And also, when he first dropped out, something that he pointed out and I found kind of unusual. It seemed like there's like a lot of JB Weld or something around where the fuel line went into the top of the fuel tank. So it was like, okay, you're missing the fuel filter and half the section of fuel line that goes from underneath the mower, or halfway between the gas tank and to the fuel pump, was missing. On top of all this epoxy or whatever on where the fuel line goes into the top of the fuel tank, and then the engine shroud unbolted, almost like they're trying to diagnose a fuel delivery issue on their own, and then gave up. Well, turns out that's probably exactly what they were doing. Because after putting a new fuel pump on, and then try and pump straight from a gas can, bypassing the rest of the fuel line to the fuel tank, still nothing was pumping out. Even disconnected from the carburetor, nothing was pumping out. Brand new fuel pump, try another brand new fuel pump. Just in case this new fuel pump had a defect, try another brand new fuel pump. Still nothing pumping out. These fuel pumps, they're pulse fuel pumps, they're called. They operate from the positive and negative air pressure in the crankcase from the pistons going up and down. So as the pistons are going up and down, that's kind of turning the crankcase of the engine into an air compressor, more or less, to where when the piston goes up, it sucks air in through the crankcase vent tube, and as it goes down, it pushes air out of the crankcase vent tube. And then that's suction and pushing air in and out of the crankcase vent tube is what opens and closes the diaphragms or check valves inside the fuel pump to suck gas in and push it out to the carburetor. So, pretty simple principle, really, once you think about it. But went ahead and unhooked the crankcase vent tube that goes from the valve cover to the fuel pump, and wasn't feeling any air pressure coming, or suction or whatever. Didn't feel any suction or air pressure. No suction when turning the engine over, no air pressure pushing out. Or it should have been kind of suction air pressure or suction air pressure. Didn't feel nothing. So it's like, okay, well, maybe your crankcase vent filter. They have like a little filter, kind of like a Scotch-Brite pad, similar to that. You kind of catch oil or whatever, so oil don't go out, just kind of there or whatever. Maybe this filter is clogged up because the oil hasn't been changed in like 25 years, according to how the oil looked and the air filter looked. So took the bolts back out of the engine shroud cover to take carburetor off and get to that. Found a bolt missing from the carburetor, and two, it's like they had taken all this apart before trying to figure it out, and then got to the point where, on Kohler command engines, well, you guys probably don't know it because you don't work on them, but that's okay. But on like Kohler Command series engines that are in a lot of zero-turn mowers, like Walker mowers and Exmark mowers and a bunch of zero-turn mowers, commercial mowers, it's just like 4 bolts to take off this cover plate on top of the engine between the 2 cylinder heads, and then you can pull that filter out and replace it. Pretty easy job. So figure, well, that's all it's going to be. Well, this happened to be a different Kohler model, to where apparently that filter is mounted internally, to where you'd have to pull the engine off the mower, off the machine, take the oil pan cover off, and then pull this internal cover off, probably, to access that filter that's probably clogged up and dirty from not changing the oil regularly. So call the guy up. So, okay, well, got everything done that you wanted, that you said it needed, that you wanted it done to it. Here's the invoice. Here's the total. Come get it now, or here's the additional problem that Joe Smith found wrong with it, that apparently whoever you got from knew was wrong with it, because they started taking it apart trying to figure it out, and that's why they did the epoxy on the fuel line, and half the fuel line filter was missing, because they were trying to diagnose this same problem, and then finally gave up when they realized that they were going to have to pull the engine and take it apart, or halfway apart, to fix it, or put a new engine on or something. And they decided it wasn't worth fixing at that point. So that's why they told you to come get it for free, because they would have had to pay a couple $100 for someone else to haul it off, and they tricked you into getting it hauling off for them for free. So this much more is going to cost to fix these additional problems, or you can pay for what's been done so far. Well, he refused to come get it. He refused to pay. He said, why would anyone in their right mind spend $500 fixing a mower that don't work? Well, then why'd you bring it to Joe Smith and tell him to fix it for you? So Smith gave him an estimate based on, didn't know the blades were bent, but just kind of gave him an estimate based on fixing whatever the issue was wrong with the belt, and change the oil and air filter and stuff like that. And then, of course, needing the new blades. But got all that, and replacing the missing fuel line section and fuel filter, of course. But after all that, call him up, and it's like, okay, well, here's an estimate on fixing the additional crap that's wrong with it, that they neglected to inform you of when they told you to come haul it off for free for them. So he's refusing to pay, saying, why would anyone in their right mind pay $500 for a mower to fix the mower that don't work? And it's like, well, then why were you not in your right mind then? Were you hired Joe Smith here to do that work to it then? Why'd you bring it here? If it didn't work, why didn't you just take it to the scrap metal place and sell it to them for $5 for scrap metal? So, got a court trial filed a few months ago. Finally, court's getting around to it. Apparently, they only do trials 1 day a week or something for small claims, or that way the judge can get in plenty of golf time or something. Or either that, or they just got so damn many people suing each other. So, what's your thoughts? What's your comments, heroes? You think the guy should pay Joe Smith for the work that he hired Joe Smith here to do to his lawnmower? Or do you think that, just because there's something else wrong with it that he decided he didn't want to pay to fix, that he shouldn't have to pay anything at all for any of the work that's been done prior? And one argument that he's using is like, well, why did it cost that much money to find out that it had this problem? It's like, well, can't crank it over if there's no freaking battery. It wasn't even going to try to crank it over with that air filter that dirty, because it probably wouldn't have started. Once you open up the package and put it in, well, it's now used. Can't, sell it to someone else that's used, or as new, whatever. And as dirty as oil was, well, it needed to be changed. And while waiting for the O'Reillys to drop off the battery, and went ahead and ordered blades, or took the blades off, sharpened them, and realized a couple were bent. So went ahead and ordered new blades. Had to order a male-to-male barb fitting to splice the fuel liner of that, and put in a fuel filter, replace all this missing parts. So, and since he said that the belt was off and that was the only problem, went ahead and put that back on and fixed the leaky tire at the same time, waiting for the battery to get here and other stuff. It's like that bar fitting, I had to order one of those. So that took a week to get here, so went ahead and did everything else, waiting for that stuff to get here. And then had to put all that stuff on to even try it out in the first place. It's like, well, if you knew it didn't work, if you knew it had all these other issues, then why'd you even bring it by in the first place? Well, I didn't know it had all that stuff wrong with it, he's claiming. Well, not my problem. You should assume that there's something wrong with it, something serious wrong with it. It was half taken apart, and fuel line missing, and fuel filter missing, and battery missing. And air filter that dirty, and oil that dirty. That kind of been an ongoing problem the past couple years. People keep bringing these mowers or stuff that they get for free, and then it turns out there's more wrong than the person told them that gave it to them for free. It's like, yeah, that's why it was free. Because they decided it wasn't worth fixing. So that's why they try to find some sucker, some stupid ass sucker, to haul it off for them for free. So they didn't have to pay the trash company to haul it off for them. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Agree, disagree, like, dislike, whatever. Joe Smith don't care. Feel free. Post your comments. Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? What's your thoughts here? And yes, Joe Smith's been getting deposits up front now since so many people can't afford to pay for their shit. They can't afford to pay the people that hire a living wage to fix their stuff. Pretty sure these people are all liberals that vote for Joe Biden too. They're probably whining that they don't make a living wage at the same time. But looking forward to reading your comments and replies. Thanks for commenting, watching, liking, subscribe, or disliking, unsubscribe. Don't care. Whatever. Do what you want. It's America. It's a free country. Joe Smith signing out.